If you have to manage AI systems and you do not know what machine learning is, then this video is for you. So I'll explain the very basics of machine learning, but also what are the four most common types of machine learning that are used, and then what are the most common risks that are related to machine learning, and finally, how is this all related to AI governance. And I'll also show you where to find a free course that will teach you about the AI governance, especially in the context of how to mitigate risks related to AI systems. So after you watch this video, you'll have a clear idea what this machine learning is and how is it relevant for AI governance. And even if you're not a tech person, if you're a business person that is in charge of certain AI systems, it is still important that you learn about this machine learning, because unless you know how it works, it will be very difficult for you to set up any kind of AI governance. So what is this machine learning? Basically, this is a process of optimizing parameters in AI models, and these AI models could, for example, be these large language models. Now, you could understand this optimization of these parameters as basically kind of a configuration of these AI models so that they actually provide you with the right answers. And these parameters are basically internal variables of these AI models that can be set in different ways, and depending on these, the output from AI models will change. And basically these AI systems are learning by examples. So these parameters are set based on various examples that are given to these AI models during this training process. And then learning by these examples, actually these parameters are set in the right way. And by the way, these examples are nothing else but the training data that you put into these AI models. And for example, these large language models have billions and billions of these parameters. And this is why such a huge computing power is needed to train all of these models, because all of these billions of parameters, meaning these internal variables, have to be set in the right way. And basically this means that when you train an AI model, it is done actually in a very different way rather than when you actually program a software. So for example, let's say that you want to build a software that sets the most comfortable temperature for your, let's say, room. And then you basically program a software that it needs to be 21 Celsius. Whereas with AI models, this learning process is very often not so straightforward. So basically it needs to start, let's say, from 19 Celsius, and then it gets the feedback from users, and they're saying, no, this is too low, and then it tries, I don't know, 24, and then they say this is too high, no, you have to decrease it, and then it goes, you know, in circles all the way to 21. So basically machine learning is this learning process where actually these parameters are set with the right values through this iterative process. Now, there are many types of machine learning, and basically ISO 22989 mentions the four most common machine learning methods, and these are supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is basically teaching with examples, and this is basically where you give to the AI model several examples and then correct answers, and then it actually learns in time actually what is correct and what is not correct. So for example, you can give to an AI model several thousands of videos or images of cats and dogs, and then you mark actually which are cats and dogs, and then in time the AI model learns exactly what the right answer is. Unsupervised learning actually happens without any correct answers, or without any actually suggestions on what the correct answers would be. And basically this is where an AI model goes through a huge amount of data and tries to make sense of it and tries to categorize it or group this data. So let's say that you give a task to your AI model to analyze your purchases without giving any hint on how to categorize them, and then the AI system tries to and starts actually to categorize these purchases according to some similarities, let's say to geographic purchases, or let's say similarities in types of products. And then semi-supervised learning is basically the mix of these first two. So basically the AI model is given a small amount of data together with the right answers, and then a larger amount of data without any correct answers. And then based on this smaller sample actually tries to figure out what are the right answers on this unlabeled bigger amount of data. So for example, you give it, I don't know, 3,000 images of cats and dogs, but you label only 200 images with right answers. And then the AI model tries to actually analyze the rest of 2,800 images on what the right answers should be. Reinforcement learning basically works through feedback and experience. And basically this is where the AI model tries to learn by doing different things. So using this example of a thermostat, it actually tries several temperatures and basically the users and giving it feedback, and this is how it learns and ultimately gets to the best value or the best output. Now let's see what are the most common risks related to machine learning. So the first one is bias. And basically bias means that the AI model learns based on the data which was, let's say, imbalanced. So let's say that this AI model is learning based on this training data, on these images of cats and dogs, and that basically this training data tells each time that cats are, let's say, nicer than dogs. Then when the user asks a question, who is nicer, cats or dogs, obviously he or she will get a biased answer towards cats because this training data was simply biased. The next risk is overfitting, and basically this is the risk where the AI model learns the data too well, even though some data might be wrong. So let's say that out of all of these images of cats and dogs, some of the images actually show the animals with, let's say, 5 legs. In this case, the AI model might conclude that in some percentages these animals really do have 5 legs, and then this is something that these kind of answers is what the AI model will give to its users. The next risk is data drift or a model drift. And this is basically when the AI model degrades over time because it was trained on certain data from the history, but it does not include the latest data. So for example, let's say that the latest data that AI model was trained with was, let's say, 2024. And then if you ask what is the latest dog show in a particular city in 2027, it will simply tell you the latest data from 2024. And also there is this risk of lack of explainability. Because all of these optimizations are happening in basically a mathematical way, which is easy to understand for a computer, but very hard to understand for a human. And then basically if you can't explain how a certain answer came up, then this creates problems with AI governance and with accountability. So to have an effective AI governance, you actually have to recognize all of these risks, and then you have to introduce various controls to actually mitigate all of these risks or most of these risks so that you actually achieve trustworthiness of your AI systems. Now, if this starts to look like too much of too many things, too many moving parts that you have to put in place, then you can use a standard like ISO 42001, which is a leading international standard for AI governance, because it explains in a systematic way how to assess all of these risks, and then it gives you a catalog of controls which you can actually apply to decrease all of those risks. And I'll show you now a free course where you can learn about ISO 42001. Okay, here you can see ISO 42001 Foundations online course from Advisera. And here you can find some basic information about the course, but the important thing is you can actually sign up for a free account and actually go through all the lessons without any payments, and you would have to pay only if you want to go for this certification exam. Now let's see the lessons which are included in the course. So in this module 1, you have some introductory lessons around, general objectives, how to set up this artificial intelligence management system. This is basically AI governance. Then how to implement this AI governance, how to document it, all of these things. You have the basic terminology here. Here is a lesson about machine learning, but basically it's very similar to what you've seen in the video today. Neural networks, main components of AI systems life cycle, these kind of things. And then module 2 and further basically explain each and every clause from the standard. So you will see, how to define the scope, how you define actually the policy, organizational roles, responsibilities, these kind of things. The whole module 3 is about assessing the risks and then finding what are the most appropriate controls for managing these risks. And then, for example, here in Module 6, you'll see an explanation of each and every of 38 controls that are listed in ISO 42001. So, for example, there are a set of controls for AI system lifecycle. So basically, what you have to do as part of each stage in this AI system lifecycle, how you handle training data, how you handle interested parties, what kind of information you have to provide to them, what are the controls for acceptable use of AI systems, how you handle customers, suppliers. All of these things are explained. Okay, hope this was helpful, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about machine learning, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And to access this ISO 42001 Foundations course that I was showing you, click this link in the description below, and you'll be able to open this free student account where you can go through all the video lessons for free, and you would have to pay only if you want to go for the certification exam. And see also my next video, which explains what are these neural networks and transformer networks, which is also related to machine learning. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel not to miss any of my new videos, and I publish videos about AI governance and cybersecurity governance every week. Thanks for watching.